Dr. Chancey. I'm a pediatrician and currently an epidemiologist at the CDC. I work in the parasitic diseases branch, but at this moment in time, all of CDC is dealing with coronavirus, so we're kind of all hands on deck. But I'm the oldest daughter of David and Amy, and I live in Atlanta.
I'm Amy Chancey, and I'm a registered nurse. I work at Piedmont Bay Hospital in the NICU.
I'm David Chancey. I have the privilege of being the husband and the father and the pastor.
So CDC has been intimately involved with the work on the pandemic since January when the first cases started in China. Obviously, things scaled up a month or two ago when the first cases came to the United States. I had some work and personal travel at the beginning of the year, so I didn't get involved with the pandemic work until recently. But I had the opportunity to go out to Utah and join a group of CDC people who were assisting the local health department in Salt Lake City. CDC goes where the states invite us, and so the states asked for assistance in trying to track cases and look at how the virus is spread among household contacts. And so everything that CDC is doing right now is to support our state partners, but also to learn more about the virus. And so over the course of a couple weeks, I had the opportunity to go into people's homes, talk to them about what they were experiencing, ask questions, take some samples, and then send all that information back to the CDC. All of that's still being analyzed, and our goal obviously is to learn as much as we can about the virus at this point in time. And so, yeah, that was my most recent experience. Currently, I'm back in Atlanta, and it's all hands on deck, and so I'm sure I'm going to be either assigned to a different kind of task force here locally or sent out somewhere else. Every day it changes, and so I don't really know what my next assignment will be.
That is so true. Every day it changes. At the beginning of this, we were getting emails, seemed like every other hour, and things were changing. For me, the hospital's no longer having visitation, except we do allow the parents to come into the NICU. And we're monitoring them. But as far as that, my role remains the same.
So as I said, CDC and NIH and FDA and all the state health departments and all the universities and medical centers, everybody's really working extremely hard around the clock trying to learn as much as we can about the virus. I know it must be frustrating to sit at home and feel like you're doing nothing and not be able to work, not be able to go see your friends, all of that. But just know that people are out there every hour, every day, every minute, trying to get ahead of this, trying to find out as much information as we can. I think, at this point we kind of need to look at it with two different approaches. There's the public health prevention approach, and then there's the medical treatment approach. And so from a public health prevention approach, right now, you guys are our key allies. You guys are doing what we're asking you to do. And so staying at home is the current public health prevention to prevent it from spreading to other people. Our goal in the future is to get the vaccine. And so if and when a vaccine is available, that will be our primary public health prevention. And so at that point in time, our goal is to vaccinate however many we can, whoever's eligible, and that will allow people to go back to normal and move about freely and no longer hopefully have to stay at home as the public health prevention piece. From a medical treatment standpoint, there's so many people around the world trying to do the research, trying to look at different treatment options, doing protocols in the hospital, figuring out how much oxygen, how much dialysis, how much blood thinners, how much ventilation, in addition to trying to figure out which medications may or may not work. And so, those people who do end up getting the virus again, despite the public health prevention measures, will hopefully have a better idea of how to treat them when they do come into the hospital. So those are the two arms, I think, of where people are right now in the scientific community. Obviously, we still have a lot of concern. The numbers are still there. They may be decreasing slightly because of the good effort that people have done to stay at home, but we still have a lot of cases in the nursing homes, the hotspot areas, in South Georgia, New York, New Jersey, Louisiana still have a lot of cases. It has been interesting when I went out west to kind of hear some of those more rural areas. Obviously, we're not as impacted, and so they don't have necessarily the firsthand fear and experience and concern and weight and heaviness that a lot of people on the East Coast do. But we still are in a time period of needing to be cautious and of needing to maintain high alert for when the virus may come back once things open up.
Things have definitely changed at the hospital over these past several weeks. We are now required to wear masks as we enter the building. So I generally get there early in the morning. I change my shoes in my car, put my mask on, go in. Parking lots are empty because there's no visitors. I take the stairs to avoid the elevators, so I don't encounter any patients going up and down. And it's very difficult sometimes to wear a mask for 12 hours during the shift, but it is what everybody does. It's an expectation. And we're still seeing new cases, even in labor and delivery.
I think it was timely, the middle of March, right before the stay-at-home order started. I joined a group of women who was studying the book of Habakkuk. And it's not one that I've read relatively recently until then. But, you know, Habakkuk just comes to God with his concerns and his questions and says, why are you allowing this to happen? And through the course of the discourse, similar to Job, God just kind of says, look, I'm in control. You know, you can come to me with your questions, but you are not God. And so ultimately at the end of the book, Habakkuk ends with the realization that it's wonderful to allow God to be in control, and I'm going to praise him despite all these things, despite the figs not being in bloom, despite the harvest not being full, despite all of this, yet I will praise him. And so, you know, it's been, I like to have knowledge, and so at the beginning of all of this, there was a lot of fear for me as well as a lot of my friends. Seeing my friends on the front line and not being able to be beside them in the hospital has been challenging. But I think, you know, just recognizing that God is in control and that's ultimately the best thing that could be possible is a good reminder in this situation.
There is a lot of fear. I see a lot of fear with the other nurses. And it was scary at first to go into the hospital. But I know that God does care for us. And no matter what, I can trust in him and I know he's got it.
I mean, a couple things come to mind. You know, I've just been really appreciative of the number of people who have reached out to me specifically to ask how I'm doing, but then just the community in general, the Christian community. On Facebook, various groups have popped up, like the Christian Medical Dental Association is having more prayer times and more times to kind of sit and chat and be with other people around the country. Being able to do Zoom calls with my former Christian medical group in Houston, and you know, just teaching my parents how to do FaceTime group calls. All of those things have been really wonderful during this time, just to have increased connectivity. Has been a huge blessing. I think when I was out in Utah, just the opportunity to see God's creation and to remember that these mountains are unchanging. I mean, they're mountains that were formed before as creation was happening, the mountains were being formed. And so they have seen good times and bad times. They've seen things come and go. They've seen life and death and situations and wars and peace and all of that. And so just the affirmation of God's love through that and the solidity of his unchanging nature was a good reminder. And then the little things, you know, the notes that people have sent. One of the houses that I went to in Utah, the kids made thank you notes in the form of face emojis. And so, just little cute things that really seem small but are significant at the end.
Just the community support has been very affirming. One day leaving work, going out on the ramp of the employee entrance exit there, someone had come and written chalk all over, just saying they were praying, and just very affirming. And then the churches that come and pray, the staff know you're there, and they greatly appreciate it. Also, somebody's made little signs and put it in the employee parking lot and at the entrances, and it's just real important to know that the community has our back.
I also come at this with the perspective of missions and having served in various overseas capacities. And it's also the start of Ramadan, in case you're not aware. So I just want to encourage you that this is such a unique time in history. In a way, I feel like the earth is pausing, is breathing. I mean, we have such a wonderful time to step back from our busy lives and reflect on what's really important, what our priorities are. And everyone around the world is in the same situation. And so, allowing us to recognize our common humanity, to strip away some of the perceived differences and recognize that, the people in Africa and Asia and Europe and South America are struggling with this coronavirus just as much as we are. And so hearing from my friends who chose to stay in those countries, I have friends in closed countries in North Africa, I have friends in rural settings in East Africa, I have friends in Southeast Asia. They could have come back to the US and they could have been here, with their families during this pandemic where theoretically medical care was stronger, but they knew that this would be an opportunity to speak into people's lives, to walk with them through this challenging time when people are questioning why God's allowing this. That's other people's questions, and they're able to present the truth of the gospel in a way that they've never had an opportunity like this before. So I just want to encourage you to pray. Pray for the missionaries who are still on the field, pray for their safety, pray for their families, pray for their kids. Pray for your Muslim friends, pray for the Muslims here in Clarkston, pray for the Muslims around the world. This is just such a unique time in history. And the fact that we had Easter last week, we're starting Ramadan this week, this coronavirus is in full swing. God is writing the story, and we're not going to know what it is till the end of it, but we're in the midst of it, and we each have a role to play. So the other message that I wanted to leave you with is just a word of advice on something that's near and dear to my heart as a pediatrician and medical professional. Please strongly consider getting your flu vaccine next fall. As you may have heard on the news conferences, there's lots of talk around the fact that this coronavirus probably isn't going away anytime soon, and that it probably will come back next fall around the same time that the flu comes back. Obviously, these are all projections. We don't know 100% what's going to happen, but it's just really important for everyone to get vaccinated. It protects you, it protects your loved ones, and protecting against the flu and the coronavirus can help the hospital communities not be overwhelmed with patients from both diseases at the same time. So please talk to your doctor, but those are my encouraging recommendations.